What's up, everybody? Welcome to a Tuesday edition of the YSN Power Hour. DJ Yoakley here. We got Paul Munson, we got the coach, we got Billy Mack, and down in the G. Burbick Farm studios, we have Gilligan and the skipper. We have Quinn and Jeff. Jeff, what exactly do you have on your head there, buddy?
Quinn, maybe go try on a golf glove and see if I was a 2X in my hands. I was. And he had this hat sitting back there.
Wait. Let's start with that first. You wanted to check your hand size?
Well, I told him I was an extra large in a golf glove, and he said, "No, dude, I bet you're a 2X." So he has 1,000 gloves in his golf bag, and I took one out and put it on, and then I saw the hat, and I put the hat on.
Why were you checking hand sizes, Quinn?
He says he's an XL, and if you ever meet Jeff, you can see that his hand is clearly not a 2. It's not an XL.
His hand is like the size of an oven mitt.
It is.
Straight up. Really
like
Jeff,
that.
you have huge hands.
Thanks, I appreciate it. Give all the credit to me on that one. No one else gets it.
Okay. Appreciate
Or
that.
your parents, one of the two.
Yeah. Do you have an East shirt on, Paul?
I do.
Oh,
East
baseball?
East baseball.
Jason give you that?
He did. When I went and did that 9-hour game down at Eastwood Field, I was there till 3 days later.
Well, you deserve a T-shirt for that. That was a long game.
Yeah.
Are we still completing that game?
I think they're going to the bullpen for the final time right now.
Oh my gosh. That got finished though, right?
Yeah, they finished it on a Saturday. They played the 2 innings, and then they played the second game that they were going to play.
Gotcha.
That day. So I think they went from noon till about 9 o'clock at night.
But I'm assuming they did the continuation with the pitchers, right?
Yeah. So yeah.
You just keep the pitcher going into the next game, so you don't have to warm up anybody.
Yeah. I hope they do.
That was long. I just remember I was in bed and I was like, Paul's still doing a game.
You went to Pittsburgh that night. That's what killed me. Is that you went from East Palestine to Pittsburgh, did a baseball game, was back home in bed, and I was in Warren still sitting there going, "We're in the top of the 5th."
I can make it better for you. We had drove to Pittsburgh, done the game, come back to East Palestine, and I drove all the way to Alliance and got in bed by the time you were done.
Yeah.
Listen, this was your volunteer for the year, and this is what I think spurred you off from doing any more games the rest of the year. Was like you put all your hours into one game.
Yeah. I was like, hey, I got the day off from my baseball portion of it. I was like, I'll do this game. This will be great. It'll be exciting. Well, what didn't help was the game before went long, and I was like, oh my gosh, okay, we're gonna start late. And then all of a sudden, there it came, and I was like, oh my goodness. Thankfully, the athletic director for Cheney, Casey Bogert, came up and he hung out with me, and it made it a little easier. But
Did you show him your East shirt?
What's that?
Did you show him your East shirt?
Oh yeah, and he definitely told me, he goes, I'm getting you a Cheney one. Don't worry about it. I was like, okay. But he was. I think he had 2 reasons for coming up there. 1, he was a little bored. 2, it was cold that night, and it was nice and warm in my little booth up there.
Paul left for that game, and 3 days later, the girls were like, "Mom, Dad's been gone a long time. Is he ever going to get back with the milk?"
Yeah. No.
Unbelievable. Well, gentlemen, welcome to National Nature Photography Day. That is indeed the best that we could come up with today. Was like National Power Smile Day.
That makes sense. Why Jeff is dressed up like that. He's going to take pictures.
He looks like Jack Hanna right now.
Yeah.
He's our own jackass Hanna.
Over there.
Yeah. But I like the shirt. Jeff, I got you that shirt from Boomba because when I saw it, it screamed, first off, America, and secondly, Jeff Bezos. What's all over your shirt?
I think I wore it out 3 or 4 times. And people have "Oh, I love your shirt." I was like, "Thanks, appreciate it."
As opposed to what?
What
else would you say?
Or they just don't compliment me at all. I don't get it really compliments when I go out.
Now they say you need to get a shirt with the maple leaf on it because, America, not so much.
I will come find you and take a poop on your front porch and light it on fire.
Dag nabbit, not poop again.
Don't put it out with your boots.
You guys did well. Let's get to this first. National Nature Photography Day. The only photography that I like is the photography that we get here at YSN, and I guess that's nature because it's natural. We got athletes playing their sports, which is natural to me. I think I think personally we have the best photographers there are in the world. I mean, you look at what Gary does, you look at what the whole crew over at Mahoning Valley Sports do. For us, we have some of the best pictures I've ever seen in our Smug Mug site, and I hope that parents take advantage of it. And I got to be honest, like if we had that kind of stuff growing up, I would have a lot more pictures in my house that I didn't throw away from like my senior year. I'm not even sure I still have my senior picture, to be honest with you. Is that something you're supposed to keep? Like, are you supposed to keep that forever?
I have mine on my phone.
What?
I still use them as like Tinder profile pics. I looked a lot better back then.
So they think they're hooking up with an 18-year-old, and
I might be a catfish.
They get the purple beast. Goodness gracious! Do you guys ever do any photography, whether it's nature or anything? Have you ever other than like selfies and stuff like that? Do you do any other photography?
I don't, but I know someone who does.
Yeah.
It's all back there.
Yeah. Matt, do you take pictures?
Anymore it's just cell phone, but I used to have a couple of really nice cameras. With a lot of nieces and nephews, I liked having pictures of them growing up, so I could kind of display them around the house.
Wow. How about you, Mac?
Nah, just pictures on the diamond. That's about as far as my nature goes.
Okay. Quinn, I know you take pictures.
No, I hate pictures. Hate pictures.
All right. Safari Jeff?
No, but my sister does. She has a bunch of like really nice cameras. She does like photos for families and stuff.
Very
So
cool.
she usually does our family photos.
Does she put does she have the camera like set up and then she jumps around on the other side? How does that work?
Usually if that's the case, she usually gives it to her boyfriend Jared, and he does a pretty good job of taking pictures. And if we have to do obviously my whole family's like in a relationship or married, and then you just have like single Jeff just show up. They're like, all right, couples pictures time, and then it's like, all right, Jeff, stand in front of this door. We're gonna take one or two of you, and we're gonna have this. I'm like, all right, cool. Thank you.
Go grab your pillow.
You need to take that hat with you next time. Just every family photo you're in for the rest of the time, you need a safari hat. That's not a bucket hat. I wish I'll get a better look here.
Yeah, it is.
That is not a bucket hat.
It is.
That's a bucket.
That looks like a safari hat.
My hat.
It is a little tight. Quinn has a small.
Yeah, my head isn't as big as his.
Yeah, my brain's is bigger than yours. That's all.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Oh, are we gonna go down this road already?
Paul, I will run you over.
What does that have to do with your brain?
Protect yourself, Paul.
Yeah, that's got nothing to do with the brain, Jeff.
No, it doesn't actually.
Jeez.
After last week, do you really want to compare your brain to anybody else
No,
other than Kermit the Frog? Maybe.
it was probably smarter than me.
Could be.
Yeah, it's a TV show.
You guys did a great job yesterday, by the way, of the show. I mean, I watched it last night when I got home, and picking it up. And you guys always do a great job of Paul. I mean, the thing about this is, it's so hard to do this part. And I'm not saying that because anybody that ever sits in this seat understands to orchestrate, to be the maestro, and to spread it around a little bit, the point guard, so to speak. It's tough. It's tough because someone can get going on a rant and go on for 5 minutes, and sometimes it's the host, sometimes it's me. But you guys did an excellent job yesterday, covered JFK superbly. I loved having Alec on the show. Ty, was good to see his face again, and they did it. I mean, they were there, so it only made sense to have them on the show, and you guys did a great job of highlighting the All-Star game. I can't tell you enough how much I loved Sunday night. From JFK winning it while we were all at Scene Park to the way that the All-Star game was. I hate talking about it twice in a row, 2 days back-to-back, but the atmosphere was the most unbelievable atmosphere I've ever been at a baseball game in a very long time. So relaxed, so calm. Everybody was just able to sit back and enjoy. And that is a testament to you guys. You guys had it all controlled on the field. And Paul, I know you guys didn't want to pat yourself on the back too much, but reality is you guys had it licked from inning one and pregame all the way through the ninth inning, which there was some turmoil between us and the umpires if we were going 7 or 9, but we got that figured out, and you guys did a great job. What was your favorite part of just the entire process? If I had to ask you, pick out one part that you could highlight, what was the best part? Paul, we'll start with you.
I liked the interaction with the kids because a lot of those kids don't get to play against each other that much, and they've played either against or with each other growing up for such a long time. Whether it be Little League and in the class beat wall, by the time they get to high school and they start playing a lot for their high school teams, if they're not with those guys, they could be in either like different divisions, or they could be in different leagues. And to see all those guys get together on Sunday night, the guys, we had in our dugout, they were all just hanging out, talking, having a great time, and, introducing themselves to some of the kids that they didn't know. Nobody seemed like they were alienated at all. Everybody just seemed to be having a great time. And that was the fun part about it. Like, you get used to when you're a coach, like you have your kids. You have those kids for 4 years and you go down the line and you're used to those guys. You don't see interaction that much with other schools in that close of a dugout. And it was great to see those guys. Nobody was a jerk. Nobody would like alienated somebody and said, we don't want to talk to that kid. Like, even if there were rivals there, they didn't care. They all knew each other and had a great time. And it was really cool to see that because you don't get to see that much.
Yeah. Matt, from a coach's perspective, from a guy that doesn't coach baseball, I heard there was a little bit of, hey, they're asking me some tricky questions. What was it like for you?
Yeah, it was definitely a unique experience. And for me, as a guy that doesn't coach baseball, I'd never coached baseball at any level, just getting a chance to kind of sit back and watch it gave me a better appreciation for, the way that the game actually gets coached. I know next year now going into baseball season and softball season, I'm going to have a better appreciation for what some of these coaches actually do all the time on the baseball side. Not necessarily Paul. We saw Quinn was able to handle the bucket sitting duties pretty well. But just kidding, Paul. But honestly, one of the best parts for me was, like Paul said, just seeing the kids interact with one another. We had, I won't name names, but we had a small school kid that came to us after one of his at-bats, and he goes, I didn't even know there were that many pitches. And we were like, well, yeah, you didn't necessarily see them at your level, but, some of these guys, there's a lot more baseball out there.
Love it. Billy Mack, what was your favorite part?
My favorite part was actually the draft. That was my favorite part. And just kind of the gearing up to the actual game. In my mind, the game was more or less just getting the kids on the field and letting them kind of run the show. So there wasn't the game part was pretty easy. So I had a little bit more fun with the draft and leading up to the draft.
Okay, and we'll go over to the Animal Kingdom. Quinn, what was your favorite part?
It's kind of like along the lines of Paul. I was on the other side, so like I got the other groupings and seeing just kind of we had some of the bigger schools. We had like Salem, Canfield, Austin, some of the bigger schools in there, and just seeing how they kind of interacted with the smaller schools. Like they didn't get to see those kind of pitches, like Coach was saying, and they're just like talking, giving strategy to each other, and just kind of like building a baseball knowledge with everybody. It was kind of cool to see, and of course being the third base coach.
You were never over there.
I didn't need to be over there.
Yeah, because we never got to third base.
Exactly. You
Story of Jeff's life.
How was that my fault? I was coaching first.
Jeff.
I got tossed. I tried to motivate our team. I got tossed.
Jeff, what was your favorite part?
Just not piggyback off everybody, but just watching everybody, all the kids, just like hang out and have a good time, and kind of like chat with all the parents, like sitting beside us and stuff. I think one of the kids' dads was sitting there, and one of the center field, he was playing center field, and he was like, I have no confidence in him catches this fly ball. And I was like, I have all the confidence in the world. I hope he catches this because it's a can of corn here. And but no, it was just cool just being around everybody and harassing Paul the whole time.
It wasn't getting tossed? That wasn't your favorite part of the
Well,
show?
yeah, the umpires, they were very nice. It was cool.
Jeff was mad he got ran so quick. He wanted to argue some more.
Yeah, dude did come out little testy. I'm like, listen, Poe Jr. behind the plate there, man. Like, there's not tossing so quick, huh?
Poe Jr. he said.
I had the whole leading up to me getting tossed. I was talking to Billy, and Billy's like, if you're going to get tossed, you kind of gotta chirp a little bit. You're not really doing anything. You're not really getting mad at calls, and he's like, start chirping a little bit. So Billy kind of helped me out in that situation, and then he told me to go. He's like, go ahead and do this one. I was close enough. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, that was good. That was a good call because it was a bang play. And we'll have it on the second half. I didn't get to load it yet, so I'll try to load it up during the break. But
I also really enjoyed Billy trying to pull the hidden ball trick.
Was that legit?
So no. So we were gonna pick the guy for first base. That was the plan, the start. And I think Leonard was like, hey, let's just do the hidden ball trick instead. I said, I'm telling you right now, we can pick this guy off first base. This is what we're going to do. We'll pick this guy off. The inning's over. They wouldn't have scored that inning, and it would have been 3-3. I said, we can pick this guy off all day, 100%. This play has never not worked. When there's a runner at second base, we're going to pick the runner at first base. They said, no, let's do the hidden ball trick. I said, hey, guys, it's your show. So we tried the hidden ball trick. But it was so obvious, though. It was one of those all right, here comes something. That's why we were going to do it on the second pitch to pick the runner off. If they would have just came together by themselves and did it, I think it would have worked out a little better.
You know the great thing about that? I watched the game. When I went home Sunday night, I went and I watched the game in its entirety. Jake called that. When he went to the mound, he goes, him and Richie are up there in the booth, and he goes, I wouldn't be surprised if they don't try a hidden ball trick here right now. And then Richie's sitting there and he goes, the pitcher's not on the mound. And all of a sudden, then you see the shortstop throw the ball because he did have it. And Jake just said exactly what you said, Billy. He goes, I would have waited one pitch and then tried that. He goes, I think it would have worked.
So it's really, high school rules are really weird. So you have to, if you're anywhere in the vicinity of the mound, it's a judgment call, and you don't have the ball as a pitcher, then it's a balk. So you can't really do the hidden ball trick that well in high school baseball. You can't step on the rubber and step off and not have the ball. You step on the rubber, you got to have the ball. Otherwise, it's a balk.
Yeah,
that's interesting. I mean, I knew the rule, but listen, they were supposed to be lax. The umpires were supposed to be lax, and that was the whole idea behind it, is have some fun. That's why we pushed Jeff out there after the first pitch of the game to have a meeting on the mound. It kind of set the tone for the game. We let Landon know, and we let Trey know, obviously, and put a little WWE into it.
Trey kicked rocks in my shoe.
Yeah, you can audibly hear you say, "There's dirt in my shoe" on the way back to the dugout.
I was like, dude, he's like, well, I had to do something. I was like, don't kick rocks in my shoe. That was terrible.
First off, why are you wearing those shoes on a baseball field? You wore
cookout,
basically slip-on shoes.
I had boat shoes on, Billy.
Yeah, that was a little weird. Why did you have boat shoes on?
Because I was at a cookout before I came there.
Who dressed you? Who dressed you?
I think that's
yesterday.
That's something that people ask every day. Who dressed you,
I
Jeff?
hope you don't get any sleep tonight. I hope the girls do not fall asleep. I hope you just get nothing.
I'm just glad Jeff's not in the same gear he was in the last couple of days.
Yeah.
Well, he had Astro gear on, Billy. I figured you'd be happy about that.
Well, but he didn't take it off for 3 days.
Take that off. I cleaned it. It was clean.
I don't know about this washing
Sure.
one day thing. I don't know how much I believe that.
I still have the theory.
What? Oh yeah, we know your theory. We know
Late
your
night,
theory.
Jeff?
It was a little late night.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He said he didn't go home, so
I did not.
he did the
I
walking.
think I got to my house at 4:45 in the morning.
That explains the boat shoes.
Did you make it to work on time?
I did not go to work. I took off yesterday. I took
Are you
8
gonna get in
hours
trouble
off.
for saying that? Are we gonna get another note
No, we're
from your
good.
boss?
No, he's leaving anyway. Today was his last day at Bournemouth. So
You gonna give him best wishes?
Best wishes to Matt McKenzie going to Poland and being the heads of buildings and grounds over there. So,
Congratulations.
Yeah, best wishes.
Things that we were going to talk about today, naturally the All-Star game, it came to mind. My thing about it is I loved it so much because there were so many schools represented. Every one of our schools was invited. I think we missed 6 that didn't show up for one reason or another. A lot of these kids had games, and that was part of the issue. And that was challenging. We labeled it as 9 innings. There was going to be a different pitcher every inning. But when we got to the game, some pitchers had to do emergency, pitching because of the weather 2 days before when they got pushed. So when people ask, and we've already responded to a lot of these people saying, why didn't my son pitch or why didn't this kid pitch? It's because they pitched already. Like, we had Gary, who's already a part of the YSN family. We had Gary there to pretty much make sure that we didn't overstep our bounds in certain situations. And he had the idea of, okay, if they pitched within this time frame, they're probably not pitching. I think the only one that we asked because he pitched a day before was Papagallo. And he's like, I'm pitching. Like, you're not stopping me from pitching. So
it was interesting to me to see the competitive side of these kids come out as the game got later and later and it got tighter and tighter. We had on our side Brandon Mikos come to us who we had no intention of throwing him at all and say, Coach, I want the ball. I want to go have an inning. And we were like, are you sure?
Well, listen, in Brandon's defense, but he sent me a message and said, I want to do this because I was the pitcher of the year. I want to represent you guys. That's the kind of guy that Brandon is. You know what I mean? That's the kind of guy. He is a stand-up young man. He's going to have a great career, I believe, at YSU. And, he wanted the ball. He's a gamer, and that's somebody that I think Danny's going to have a lot of fun with because you've got him, you got Lane Rhodes, you've got Ian Francis. Who else was over there from YSU that they're going to get? I had a whole picture of
Seymour.
Yeah, Seymour. So you look at that, and that's a pretty doggone awesome little recruiting class just there, and there's more to come. So I'm happy that Gary was there, as Pletch says. But it's one of those things where we weren't going to push the guys into a situation they didn't want to be. Like, if they didn't want to pitch, if they didn't want to play a certain position, we weren't going to do it. What's funny, Mac? Oh, you're muted.
Nah, Kate just texted me something about her work today. It's funny.
Okay. One of those things, guys, that I loved the most was for a moment I got to go up in the corner of the bleachers on the third base side, and I just took it all in. Right. Something that we've worked so hard on to have is an all-star game like this that is unlike any other. It's unlike any other one, starting with the draft, like Billy said, and culminating with the actual game itself, the broadcast of it, and obviously in one of the greatest facilities in all of the country, in my opinion, that we call home. And it was fantastic. It was, and I appreciate everybody, with the kudos, but, I think the majority of that belongs on the players because the players are the ones that make it happen. We just kind of facilitate it, and it goes the way that they want it to go. But I got to say that, setting the tone early with Jeff, Jeff, you were an integral part of that. A little bit of the Ringling Brothers side of things. But that's why everybody loves Jeff, is because he's willing to do those things and make it fun for everybody. So kudos to the players, and I hope the parents enjoyed it, because that was one of the things that we wanted to stress was, we went over and we talked about it. I heard it from both sides, is this could be the last time you ever play in your high school jersey. And a lot of them, it was going to be. And, for parents, it's tough because the last time you see your son or daughter walk off that field on a high school jersey is a lot of times in a loss, right, with tears in their eyes. And this was an opportunity to reverse the curse, so to speak. This was an opportunity to let everybody go home happy. And just the fact that everybody's taking pictures after the game, that was cool to me. And the hashtags and all the stuff that we saw in the hours after the game, the hours leading up to the game, was really neat. So thank you. Huge thank you to Scene Park, Kate Kelly, Bob Beam, Steve Leslie, Scott Rourke, the whole crew over there, and of course Mr. Scene himself for allowing us to do what we do, and to bring a crowd, because we certainly brought a crowd on Sunday night. We're looking to do that, and for those who've asked, we're working on softball right now. We're trying to get a date. I know that they just had another All-Star game last night.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people saying that was the last All-Star game. We hope not. We hope we can get enough commitments for what we hope to be, and this is in Pencil, the 27th, at a location to be determined. We want it to be at Youngstown State. We're just waiting on confirmation there. So hopefully we can do the softball game the same way we did the baseball game with the draft and things like that. Anthony's going to be a coach. I don't know who else is going to step up and coach against him. I'm open. I'm all. Jeff, you want it? You got to start by turning your microphone on.
Yes, I want it.
Okay. All right. Jeff versus Anthony.
Hey, Billy, you're going to have to be part of that, too, because I need you to help me draft girls.
Nope, I will be in Pittsburgh.
Okay. Well, just go to draft them. 1 through 9.
I would think that Quinn would maybe be a good
Hey,
partner
Quinn,
for
you want to help me?
No.
Are they with the draft?
This is completely backfiring right now, Jeff. I hope you know that.
I would buy you lunch. On me.
Who?
Quinn. Not Quinn. Who else do you think I'm talking to, Paul?
I'll tell you what, Jeff. If nobody else will go with you, I'll go with you.
Coach, you're my dude. Cool.
So Anthony's going to have his pick of his assistant coaches as well, and then we'll do the same thing. We'll do a draft, and we'll have some fun with that too. I will say this: it's going to be interesting because typically girls have more fun with this kind of stuff than guys. So I'm really excited to see what they can come up with. And again, we'll have the same thing: t-shirts available. All the players get a t-shirt, and so on and so forth. But we're looking to have it under the lights, 7:00 ish. Start and excited for that as well. We're going to try to do volleyball in the fall. We obviously have the YSN Penn Ohio football game coming up on the 24th, so we'll have 2 events that week to do, and just a lot coming. We started planning for football yesterday. That is an animal, and that's an animal we're going to talk about when we come back right here on the YSN Power Hour. Stay with us, stay tuned, we'll be back right after this.
Your first and last stop with your tax return should be with me, Tracy Bryden at Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. No other dealer goes the extra mile to bring you the largest selection of vehicles at one convenient location. With guaranteed credit approval, I will find you the right vehicle and the right financing options for you. I am ready to go the extra mile to show you why no other dealer sells more cars, finances more, and gets you more for your refund than Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
Quality, customer service, and integrity. Those are the 4 words that have driven our success since 1957 at Joe Dickey Electric.
Joe Dickey Electric is one Mahoning Valley landmark business that stays current with the requirements of our customers. Family owned and managed, we are an electrical contractor and energy solutions provider. Every member of our team adds to his or her skill set through ongoing training. Residential, commercial, industrial, automotive, and more. We keep ahead of the needs of our customers with a fleet of more than 50 vehicles and 24/7 emergency service, so you're never left in the dark.
Jimmy Sutton here, Director of Isle, Purple Cat, and Golden String. We are happy to support YSN and 2 of my favorite people, Scotty Mincher and Super Dave O'Malley. We are an agency that provides services for adults with disabilities. We infuse humor, passion, and joy into their lives. If you know of any folks with disabilities that need our assistance, please contact us.
Your teams work hard and give it all they've got. Well, so does ours, because 21 Sports and YSN give you extra effort when covering local sports. 21 Sports and YSN, winning coverage of our Valley's teams.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the YSN Power Hour. DJ Yoakley alongside my friends Paul Munston. We got Coach Seidel, Coach Mack. We got Safari Jeff down there making text messages, and we got Quinn also in the G. Burbick Farm Studios. Guys, before the break, we brought up football a little bit. A lot of football coaches on the program today on Running Point talking about their situations going into it. Matt, I know it's never too soon to talk about football with you. You gave me a countdown, which also gave me anxiety in the car yesterday. Talk to me about how many days we have until opening night, and should coaches be ready this soon?
Yeah, I think coaches are always getting ready. And, from a countdown standpoint, you put me on the spot, so I'm Googling it right now.
I think you said 48 yesterday.
I think you're right. Days until August 1st. And it is officially 47 days. So we are 47 days away from the official start of OHSAA football in the state of Ohio. Now, what I can tell you is guys are out on the field right now. Guys are constantly, getting ready, whether it's in the weight room or, 7-on-7s are getting ready to start. I know we've got a pretty grueling 7-on-7 schedule coming up this offseason. Obviously looking for a quarterback, trying to figure out what we're going to do there. Just making sure that all the pieces and parts are in order. But I'm excited. I think that, for YSN, from a YSN standpoint, this is going to be a huge season for football season. Just some of the behind the scenes stuff that we've been working on and getting ready for. It could really have the potential to be a year unlike any other.
Yeah, and I think you hit the nail right on the head. And a lot of us are trying to just keep swimming into baseball season as we go into summer ball. We've been in summer ball since the jump, but you talk about, we heard it yesterday at the FCA golf outing. Football is on everybody's mind. Paul, are you mentally prepared to turn the page to football already?
Yeah. I know baseball's over and we still got all of our stuff going on down at Seed and everything, but I always look forward to football season. I love, broadcasting the games, being the PA announcer at school as well. Just getting out there, and it's a fun time. When you said, the 24th already, I was like, oh my gosh, that game is right around the corner. So I'm like, oh wow,
10 days away, 9 days away.
I was like, all right, and I honestly kind of forgot about it a little bit because I was just the thing of all those games last year got canceled, and you didn't have any of those all-star games, and it was such a shame that a lot of those guys got to miss that. And then now I think it's been kind of quiet, which is crazy. Nobody's really kind of talked a lot about it, and it's it's coming, in football season. And this morning I was sitting there and we got all those text messages in our group about all the different voting and how that's been just kind of pushed aside. And we don't care what you say, we're going to do what we want, kind of thing with the playoffs. And I was like, man, it's June and we're already talking about how exciting it's going to be and what's going on come August.
Billy, are you excited for football, or you still have the baseball mojo going?
Yeah, I'm coaching 2 teams right now, so the idea of football is still very far away for me. And I'll have one in the fall with Team Ohio Pro Select. So, there's a lot of baseball for me before I even start thinking about football at any degree.
Quinn?
No, I'm always thinking about football just because I talk to Coach so much.
And you're the guy scheduling. You and Paul are the guy scheduling. So
outside of that, I'm in basketball mode 24/7. So
I didn't ask you about basketball.
June is basketball season.
How?
Camps.
You got summer camps coming up.
Summer league. From a small school perspective, we're sharing athletes. So I've got guys going to summer league basketball tonight. I've got some guys working out on the field tonight. It's just.
Okay, real talk, not coach talk, real talk. How irritating is it that you've got a season coming up and you're sharing with, and listen, I get it. I understand it. You're sharing with basketball players that's another season after yours, and you're sharing with baseball. Baseball kind of has the front row seat because it is baseball season, technically. Is it ever irritating to you, or do you kind of have to get past that as a coach?
It is. So real talk, not coach speak. It is a logistical nightmare.
Yep.
It's just trying to figure out where and when and who and what you've got and who's going to be there. And, hey, we're going here this date, but we want to go here this date. And that's where, for me as a coach, it's just so key to have such a good working relationship with all of our other coaches, whether it's, Coach Knepp, the new basketball coach, Coach Whitlatch, the baseball coach, or even Coach Billingsley, our track coach. We have to be in constant communication with each other.
Jeff, Are you looking forward to football?
Yes, very excited for it. One of my good buddies' brother plays for South Range, so he's been talking to me 24/7 about football nonstop. If YSN's going to cover every game, if I can't make it, can I get the game?
Yes.
So I'm like, yeah, dude, like you can get the game, and so I'm super excited for it. I can't wait for football season.
There it is, baby. Won't be on the radio, won't be on television. It's going to be streaming 24/7. From our standpoint, like football is a 12-month process, right? You get your breathers here and there, but I was always told by a colleague of mine the place I used to work, it is a monster. It is a beast that cannot be tamed here in Northeast Ohio, and I'm learning that it just goes faster and faster every year. Like baseball gets minimal, you know what I mean? It keeps getting shrunken down, and now, especially now with you're allowed to basically go out and play for your team in the summer and have your contact periods. It's football 24/7. It's football, 365, and it's crazy to me that it consumes kids' lives. I can't imagine being a football parent with if in a situation like Cam Hollowell where you got a 3-sport athlete, how just absolutely draining that is mentally.
Well, it's a strange thing right now too, because June was typically a pretty dead period for football.
Yep.
Prior to the pandemic last year. And with the exception of weightlifting, which obviously happens, 365 days a year. But now that the OHSA has kind of just said, hey, it's the Wild West out there, you've got guys that have been in helmets already and practicing. You've got guys that have their entire offense installed already. So it's definitely interesting.
Do you think this was the pacifier for what has come to be? So you talk about the 16-team playoff, and 70% of Ohio coaches voted against it. They wanted 12.
Yeah.
Do you think that having access to your players around the clock, around the year, around the calendar, was the pacifier? So the OHSA could be like, okay, you do this, but we're gonna get ours.
I think it's a Band-Aid on a bullet hole. And it's a temporary fix for a problem that they created for themselves. And, they heard the backlash from the coaches, and everybody was kind of, well, hey, you moved the season back by a week. Now we've only got 2 weeks to prepare for a game. Especially at the small school level, that's just not enough time. You're asking guys to still basically have a week of practice and then have their first scrimmage.
So you open up Pandora's box in order to.
Yeah,
that's crazy to me. Because now there's no excuse. I heard it. Was it yesterday or the day before? Somebody said it. I can't remember who it was, but they said, yeah, it's tough for us because they're moving it back a week. But you have access to your kids all the time. So is it really a problem?
It depends. I mean, at the bigger schools, it's probably not as big of a problem. But at the smaller schools where we are sharing between 4 different sports, it can be a little bit challenging.
But you can still get to your kids. There's no contact period, right? So you can still install your offense, install your defense. So the timing between trying to keep your kids coming to football instead of basketball or baseball, that's the issue.
And it's a balancing act because you don't want to burn them out too early. If you're going full bore in June and then going full bore through July, by the time you hit August, your guys are just going to be burnt out. So what we're trying to do is, ease into it. We're trying to go 2 days a week and then gradually add a third day. And then eventually we'll add the 5 days and be at our 6-day regular season schedule by the time we hit, the second to last week of July.
Is anybody else kind of perturbed about the OHSA just poo-pooing the idea that coaches are trying to get control of this? I mean, again, almost 70% of coaches voted to go to a 12-team.
What was the point of the meeting? What was the point of the conversation if they were just going to say, we don't care what you think about it anyway?
I think that's the point, is trying to understand, at what point, when we've said it before, at what point does the schools say, wait a minute, you're not in control, we're in control here?
Yeah, You're right, Mac. It's been a problem from the beginning, and the coaches association point is, did we just have a meeting to have a meeting? This could have been an email.
And there was a lot of extracurriculars of putting charts together and adding up, tallying up votes and things like that by somebody very local here in the great state of Ohio.
So were you in the meeting, Coach? You were in that meeting?
I was not. So we were represented by, Coaches Association.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So we were all reached out to by our local reps. And then, Bob Spate and Coach Pavlansky at Canfield were instrumental from the coach's perspective at being our representatives to the board.
So similar like baseball similar too.
Yep.
Gotcha.
And I'm interested because I think there's a lot that can be shown from a demographic standpoint of, listen, if you don't want to do it, if you're forced into something, like it's like being a kid, right? If you don't want to eat your carrots at dinner, you're not going to eat your carrots at dinner. Like, you'll find a way out of doing it. Does the OHSAA, or I'm sorry, does the Coach Association have an option here, or are they're just going to have to do the beckoning of the OHSAA?
I personally believe that you always have an option. I think what we're going to end up seeing is we could see some 16 seeds opting out of the tournament. But I think that right now, the general consensus seems to be that we just kind of have to swallow the pill that's been dealt to us by the OHSAA.
That would be interesting because it'd
throw a big monkey wrench into their plans.
Yeah, because you couldn't sell tickets around that.
No.
Ooh, man,
and you're creating what they wanted to get away from. The whole idea of going to the 12-team format was you would still have to be at least a winning team. And the OHSAA didn't want to see that bye week happen for the top 4 seeds.
Yeah, I don't know. And I don't know the coach's feelings on a bye week, but I don't think I think you should have the option of bye week. You get an extra game. And the team that you play should get that same opportunity, right? Mm-hmm. So if it's South Range and they want to play United or East Palestine or whoever, Springfield, they'll probably both be in, I would assume. But you look at that and you go, okay, we want to play. You get kind of it's an exhibition game technically, but I don't know. I don't know the answer, but that seems like an easy fix if you want to have that extra game and not have a bye week, right?
Yeah, no, you're right, and Sigler's right. 10-0 versus a 3-7 record could definitely happen.
Yeah, that's not going to be fun.
No.
That's not going to be fun at all. I mean, again, I know I've asked this 50 times if I've asked it once. At what point does schools stand up or coaches stand up and say, you know what, guys? Here's some rocks. Go kick them.
Yeah, you would hope it would be sooner than later.
Jeff,
or you could see coaches saying that, listen, like, we don't want to play. Why am I going to subject my kids to going into a slaughter? And this isn't fair. Like, so, hey, thanks but no thanks. We don't need to run the risk of injury for this. So
I think, and not to monopolize the conversation, but I think that what the OHSAA is banking on is the pressure from the communities not to opt out. It was definitely, as a team that opted out of the playoffs last year or the tournament last year, there was definitely community pressure to take part in it. And, we had to sit back and we really had to explain ourselves that we were looking out for the best interest of the program and the kids and building for the future.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but my theory of, there might be a, David Goliath matchup that, David's able to come through. There wasn't any of them.
No. Football's a little bit different of an animal than like the March Madness tournament or anything like that. Typically the cream rises to the top.
And pretty quickly did the cream rise to the top. I mean, there was a ton of blowouts. I remember that first week, and it was, you never want to say it's embarrassing, but everything that I talked to you about, I talked to a couple of my other friends that are coaches about, that had the same thing, that opted out. They were right. You guys were right. I mean, why subject yourself to injuries just because you can say we were a playoff team? Like the goal in the playoffs is to win it. But if you're able to go and get, how many more games did you get out of that? 4?
We ended up getting 4 more games because we played a 6-game regular season and then we played 4 non-conference games.
And you were able to get, good competition for your guys that, you look for a W. You look for an opportunity to get them a win to hang in the seniors year and whatever, and the juniors wait till next year. So I don't know. To me, it's crazy. Jeff, where do you stand on this? Would you want to see a 10-0 versus a 3-7? Does that bother you at all?
Yeah, that would drive me crazy. If I'm the 10-0 team, that's a pretty much a big slap in my face, because now I get to go play a team that I know that I have to get the boys to get, or the team that coach up I'm coaching, have to get the boys to get up to play a team that is 3-7. Does a 3-7 team deserve to be in the playoffs? No, you didn't win enough games. Get better, basically, as Billy Mack would say. Just get better. And it just doesn't, why even, like Billy asked, why have the meeting? Because the Ohio Association can say they had a meeting about it. Is basically what it is. Ohio Association, and this is all me saying it. It's not YSN, but they're a joke. That is a joke of an organization. You think you're an organization looking out for high school kids. You're not. You're just looking out for yourself. It's all about the dollar signs. If it was about the kids, you would really think hard. Do we really want a 3-7 team making? Do you really think that's a good idea? Who's going to watch that? I'm not. I want to watch that. If that's the game, if that's what it comes down to, where, I'm not going to watch it. Quinn won't watch it. No one on this panel will watch that game. That's an embarrassing. It's embarrassing. It just flat out is. And if you're a fan that likes the 16-game playoff or 16-team playoff, then okay. But it's embarrassing. That's all I can say. It's pathetic.
All right, Jeff, good
kids.
take.
It's like little kids brought in it.
Quinn? I didn't know where he was going with that. Quinn, your take?
I don't know how to follow that. I really don't. No, I don't want to watch a 3-7 team play the best team. I don't. That's pointless. It's a waste of time. It doesn't prove anything either. I think that 12 is too much. I think it should be 8.
Didn't D1 Region 1 did this 1 year? I know that for sure. They went to a 16-team play.
Well, I know if you do it D1 wise, you're going to put Menor, who's one of the top teams in the country, against the team that shouldn't even be remotely close.
And that's what happened.
Are you on Menor this year? Is that that's where you're going?
No, he's.
You're back on. You're not jumping on the
Here we
train.
go. Here we go. Go ahead and say it, buddy.
They were one of the best teams.
No,
there's a handful of teams that just you shouldn't be playing against them. It's a 3-7 team.
It's happened before. Like you've seen teams with the losing record, 3-7, 4-6. But a lot of times when that happens, it's the schools that you see that are like a D3, D4, D5 school that is scheduling up. Their whole schedule is like D1, D2 schools. So
Ursuline.
A lot of your Catholic schools like that. I remember when I was at YSU helping out the football staff there, that we were looking at teams that were. We saw 1 year it was a team was 2-8 in the country, and they were making the playoffs. They were a higher seed. But you go back and look and see who they played. Their 2 wins were against teams that was their only loss of the year, and they went on and had monster years, and so you get all those points from them. And
it's all about the Harbin points.
And that's the only reason you'll see most of the time a team that's 3-7, 4-6 making the playoffs, because they've scheduled a crazy schedule. They won a handful of games that they needed to, got all those computer points. But when you start looking at your lower tier D5, D6, D7 schools, when they're 3-7, they're not scheduling big schools. They're playing teams within their league. They're playing teams within their area that they know they can try to compete with. And now they're 3-7. And then you're going to say, well, guess what? Now you're going to go play the best team in your region who's 10-0. And sorry for your luck. And it's what are you doing to those guys? Are they just say, hey, just throwing you a bone? Hey, you made the playoffs. Good job.
See, all of this is going to be great until one team that's 3-7 beats a 9-1 or a 10-0 team. It's going to take one, and it's going to be the case study. We've all seen it And we know it at some point it's going to happen, right?
But I think you're going to see that in a higher division, though. You're not going to see that in a D5, D6, D7.
I disagree. I think you're going to see it in the lower division because they're going to play higher teams the entire year, and then they're going to be in at a 3-7, and they're just going to go beat up on somebody that's had cupcakes on their schedule all year.
Well, where you're going to see it is, and not to continue this argument, but you're going to see it with one of those mid-level teams like a Kirtland who's going to schedule, they're going to try and schedule D2 Solon again. And they're just going to say, hey, we're going to make it in no matter what. So, what do we have to lose by playing the bigger competition?
That's what I'm saying. And Chris says scheduling becomes irrelevant. I think it becomes even more important at that point because then you can say, okay, and I think somebody already said the computer points. You see where it comes from. And I think that's what is the only thing the OHSA hasn't been able to take into consideration because one guy independent from the OHSA pretty much nails it before the OHSA ever gets around to it.
He's spot on almost all the time.
And,
Joe Idle.
Yeah, and Joe I don't think he's ever been wrong in those situations to the point where I think the OHSAA, to just make sure that they've got nobody.
They double check.
They just go, hey, we're going to double check with Joe.
Yeah.
And if it comes up weird, they usually, I would assume they would probably either go back to the drawing board or go with who Joe has went with. So I think that at some point there was going to be a team that is 3-7, makes the playoffs, and beats a 10-0 or 9-1 because the schedules are not going to be even, and that's where you're going to find it. And that's the case study for the OHSAA because they go, oh, look, see, 3-7 teams can do it. And they don't say anything else but that because they don't have to.
Yeah, right.
Any given Friday or whatever.
I think that Chris's argument where he says, scheduling becomes irrelevant, I think that will be the case for maybe some independent schools.
Yes.
Because everybody else is going to have a 7-game league schedule they got to play. It's those 3 non-league games that you go out there and it's a free-for-all, get whoever you can. But if it's, if you're an independent, now all of a sudden you're like, well, we don't care really who we're going to play. As long as we have, a decent record, we're going to get in. So
I think it benefits the independents. I really do.
I think that this could honestly be the first step in the process to seeing the elimination of leagues altogether.
I don't think you're ever going to see that. I mean, I think they're too. Listen,
league championships are important.
Because it's a championship in today's day and age. Matt, we saw it yesterday with that phone call. What's more important than anything? Trophies. Yep. We want to hand out trophies. We want to hand out T-shirts. We want to hand out rings. We want to do listen. You can talk about it all day about how weak or how strong a conference is, but everybody wants to compete for a conference title. Everybody wants to. And, South Range took the approach a couple years ago. We saw it. They're independent. They're going to play the toughest teams. They don't care because they got nothing to lose. They got no conference title to hang, no banner to hang. So they knew that they were going to chase district, regional, state titles from there. So it was very interesting to see how that kind of went down. I think independents are going to get stronger. I think it takes a very tough team, though, and you have to know who you have foundationally in your district to go independent. Because if you take a dip, you go from having 60 players to having 20 players, you're going to have a tough time filling a schedule.
Hey, can I ask a question?
Sure.
All right. So you're in a conference right now, and you know that you have 16 spots. When did you just go independent? Would you drop out of that conference and go, okay, I'm going to go independent and play way better schools than playing my consistent schedule every year in and year out?
That might work for a year. You know what I mean?
Contract usually. So.
Yeah, if you jump out of the you're basically racing 7 teams. Which is usually 8-team conferences for the most part. Mm-hmm. You're racing 7 teams off of your schedule that if you jump out of the conference, they're not going to play you most likely.
Well, yeah,
it takes having an athletic director that's got unbelievable contacts at that point
and cojones.
Yeah, both of those. And that's the thing, because then your name becomes mud. Everybody's gonna be like, well, these guys are just worried about themselves. They don't care about a conference and the rest of us. So why would they care
about yourself, though? You sell yourself on that, right? Like if you're going to go, a couple years ago, I was in school. Ursuline went 4-6, right? And they played up, and they're not necessarily playing in a conference. I'm just saying, if I'm a school now, just use them as an example as like South Range, and I want to try to get better and be better. And the conference is tough that they play in. I'm not saying it's not, but if I want to be better and okay, if I go independent, I can play maybe a Boardman or a Canfield and use like an Ursuline or a Cardinal Mooney. Like if I get those 4 schools or 5 schools right there, that could possibly make me better.
But Jeff, here's the problem with that. And Matt, back me up on this or tell me I'm wild. But when you're a losing team, you are the belle of the ball. Everybody wants to play you because they want that homecoming win. They want that victory to go out on if they don't make it. If you're a good team, they're trying to avoid you like the plague. And if you're an independent team, it's hard to fill that schedule because nobody wants an L because that could be the L that gets them out of the playoffs.
Okay.
Listen, I got the phone call. I got the phone call and the email today, and it's, hey, we heard that your week 2 game may not happen. We'd love to come play you, Wycliffe. Like your Division 5 program that has made the playoffs, 5 of the last 6 years. No, they're looking for that W on their record.
Yeah, all right. Good way to think about it. I'm just saying that
We'll play, Coach. We'll play.
I appreciate that, Jeff. Thanks for backing me up.
That's gonna put a bow on our sports talk today. Now it's time to turn to the beefs and the fillets here on the G. Burbick Farms. What's your beef? What is your fillet? Brought to you by our lovely friends over at G. Burbick Farms. Visit them on the web, gburbickfarms.com, or if you're feeling froggy, Saturday from 10 to 4, head down to New Buffalo Road in Columbiana and tell them YSN sent you. Last week they actually had like lamb on the grill. Like they were smoking it. So make sure that G. Burbick, Greg Burbick himself, is out there smoking some food. Get a sample and definitely buy him up. So it's the best meat this side of the Mississippi. Let's start it off with Paul Munson. What do you got?
I got a beef today. Today, obviously it's summertime, so I'm off, and I took the girls out. We went to did a little bit of running around, and I wanted to go out to a place, I won't say their name, and we wanted to hang out. We haven't been there for a while, and go visit some animals. And they were like, well, we're only open from 3 to 6 on Wednesdays for you to come in and see the animals, unless you make an appointment. And there's paperwork you have to fill out too. I'm like, because they're still worried about some of the COVID issues with people coming in and seeing the animals. And I'm like, what the hell?
Was it Toys R Us?
No, it wasn't Toys R Us. They're not even around anymore. So
Jeffrey.
I just wasn't too happy about that. I was like, that was a little disappointing. They were excited to go there, and we were told no. So,
all right, Matt, what do you have?
Yeah, I'm going to go with a beef today, but I'm going to ask you to bring everybody else back in because I want to see everyone's reaction to this. My beef is with you, DJ, for not knowing where you live yesterday and taking us on the scenic tour of Pennsylvania on our way back from Youngstown.
All right. I'm going to defend myself. Yes, there's no reason, but I punch in the same way I do if I'm going anywhere. I punched in my address in my phone because that's the easiest way to get back. Apparently, I didn't look at where the city was, and it took us to Slippery Rock, and I had no idea. I'm like, okay, we hit the Welcome to Pennsylvania sign. I'm like, okay, well, I live close to Pennsylvania, and then it was like Westminster Teal, and then
Grove City, next exit.
Grove City was next exit. I was like, all right, I know this isn't the way to my house because we're a while away from Grove City. So, yeah.
And it kept saying 14 minutes away, and we were like, there's no way.
I thought we found a new shortcut. I was real damn excited. I'm not going to lie to you.
Where did you start at?
Youngstown Country Club.
Yeah, Liberty.
Oh.
I was real excited that we were 14 minutes away because I was like, it took us a while to get out here.
Mm-hmm.
How's it taking us 14 minutes to get home? And yeah, I got lost. So the first time in a while, the Siri app told me the wrong way. So I guess when you punch in your home address and it pulls up Slippery Rock, that's not really your home address. So well played, Siri. AI at its best. Billy Mack, what do you got?
I got a fillet. It's been real nice to get back to coaching with the tripod plus a couple with Rick Abrillo, JMO. and getting back with the 18U Astros and watching good baseball and coaching good baseball. So that's my filet.
All right, Quinn, what about you?
I have a beef, and it's with anybody that calls me and then I call them back and they don't answer. Like, why? Why can't you answer? Like, you just called me, and I'm calling you back. You don't answer.
You never do that.
Well, you FaceTime. You're different. You're weird.
Yeah, what is it with your FaceTimes, Jeff?
You
I still
FaceTime.
FaceTime, and it's the easiest way to do it.
No, it's not.
Leave you on the toilet.
Never just text me. Just send me a text. I don't want to talk to you.
You did catch me on the toilet, no lie.
I caught you on the toilet like all the time. Like, time he picks up FaceTime, he's like, "Oh, I'm on the toilet." I'm like, "Yeah, dude." Like, okay, I can wait 5 minutes. Like, you don't need to pick up.
Well, FaceTimes are usually urgent.
I was pretty. No, with this one was not.
It was St. Patrick's Day. You were drunk, and
I was pretty toasted.
Yep. What's your beef or fillet there?
Mine is going to be a fillet. It's my mom and dad's anniversary today. 36 years being married. So just cheers to Dean and Sue on being married for 36 years and putting up with me for 29 of those 36 years.
Happy anniversary.
Yeah, Dino and them. Good job.
Amo, you're going to be my fillet because if this is what I think it is, well done. Well done.
Yeah.
The Lisbon golf team put something out the other day about, they needed a home for golf. And within, I'm talking minutes, Amo jumped in, hey, give coach my number. We want to help out. And obviously he does a lot for us here. And it's nice to have friends that are all in on stuff like that. It's all about the kids. And Amo has never shied away from giving or contributing or pointing somebody in the right direction. People out there, it's funny, like YSN, and I hate to put everything back to YSN, but how else can you do it? The Y in YSN stands for yours. It's your sports network, and we've had so many of our supporters step into the conversation and be impact players, and no bigger example than Amo right there. I mean, Lisbon was looking for a golf course to play their home matches on, and it sounds like they got one now because guys like him stepping up. And it all started with the love of what we do every day from 3 to 4 or from 12 to 3 or what we do at night for our games. So I was overwhelmed this week with the love of looking at Scene Park, and it's filled up, and you look at our supporters and anything you guys need, we love you, we appreciate you. And when you see 45 kids on a baseball diamond, and that they would never play each other unless it was for everybody here at YSN and everybody at Scene Park, that's a special moment. It's a special moment. So fillet to our supporters, man. Push it out there. You guys are the reason that this thing is like a jet engine, just moving and moving and moving. And I know it sounds tacky, but we do it for you. There's no amount of money that's gonna make us stop what we're doing, or whether that's good or bad. We're just going to keep pushing, and we couldn't do it if it wasn't for you. So tip of the cap to you guys, and Amo, especially to you, man. Well done. A good friend, a good man, and he's doing good things in the community. So that's going to put a wrap on our show. Thanks for tuning in. Tomorrow, guys, don't forget, we are live from Mill Creek Golf Course in Mill Creek Park. So excited for that show. Make sure you tune in. A lot of golf talk tomorrow, and I'm sure there will be some hijinks as well. So until tomorrow, that's going to do it for us here at the YSN crew. We'll see you tomorrow from Mill Creek Park. Fly the flag.